Welcome to Divine Decode, where we uncover the sacred codes hidden in everyday life. I am Pragya, and tonight's story is about something we're all quietly craving: steadiness in a restless world. Our guest, DK Kang, knows what it means to rebuild from rock bottom. He is an author, life learner, and wellness advocate, and he has turned faith, discipline, and nourishment into tools for surviving a culture that glorifies burnout. His journey through loss, love, and renewal teaches us that healing does not come from grand gestures, but from the daily devotion to feed your body, believe through pain, and keep fighting forward. So, grab a cup of coffee and let's dive in. First of all, thank you so much, GK Kang, for being here. And it's, as I mentioned, it's always an honor hosting you. And I'm looking forward for this conversation.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, so let's start with this: that we live in a time where people are both, they're hyper connected and at the very same time deeply disconnected from their self, from people around them, from faith, from their bodies, and from the actual meaning of life, right? So how did your journey teach you to find faith not in temples or books but in yourself, in the ordinary rhythm of daily life and the chaos of daily life? So, what is your take on that?
Yeah, I think for me, your faith is it's built by being tested. In life, you're going to be tested with a lot of things, and for me, I look at people in the Bible. I look at Job. His faith was tested. I look at Jesus Christ. His faith was tested, and in the midst of all the chaos, life circumstances, things like that, they still held on to their faith, and that's just from daily actions like reading the Bible, praying, meditating, being still. We live in a world where everything is go, 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 go. Everything is on your phone, social media. When's the last time we actually took time to be still, to take a pause, to reflect on things that are important to you, things that are what you value most? For me was um, my wife was diagnosed with cancer last year. I lost my job after a month after disclosing my wife's cancer diagnosis to my employer. Um, but those things didn't matter to me like the job. There's always going to be more jobs. What mattered most to me was my wife and to be there for her. And, but those things, it built my faith because there was times where I'm like, I don't know what to rely on, but faith itself. And so, that's definitely helped me in that.
So true, so true. And thank you for sharing your story with us today. Also, I truly feel that when we do not have a reason to believe or to have faith in ourselves, we sometimes, just lack that vision or direction. But when there is a reason and there is something which, pushes you to have faith, to do something about your chaotic life and to actually prioritize what is most important and what would anyways be there around. So thank you for giving us that insight. Also, do you think that people today, they confuse faith with comfort? Okay. So, for example, there is this individual who would think that, okay, I have faith in myself and I would do something, but he or she is not working for it and they're literally in their comfort. So, what is it like when in truth sometimes it might be what gives us courage and what pushes us through, but sometimes it's also the people who sit in comfort believing that they have faith, but it's the other way around. So how do you tackle that, and what do you suggest them to do?
Well, I think comfort is it makes you stagnant. You don't grow, and the best way to grow is to get out of that comfort zone, is to do something uncomfortable. And again, that's something like your faith might be tested, and you might just think like, "Oh, I'm comfortable right here in my own little bubble." But when you kind of step out into something that's uncomfortable, it's going to help you grow mentally, physically, spiritually. Just thinking about like a cancer diagnosis for us was we had to, it was very uncomfortable, and especially with the job loss that came with it. But at the same time, we got out of our comfort zone by learning about cancer, about learning books from people that written books about how they beat cancer. We read a book called Chris Beat Cancer, and how the lifestyle of cancer, it's from your food, it's from the stress of your jobs. And learning about it was very uncomfortable, but that helped us grow in our faith because we're learning from someone else that has been there before us. And so, just thinking about like, we could have just easily been comfortable of like, hey, like, oh, the doctors, you guys know everything. You guys tell us what to do. But there's times when like then we're not growing in anything. Then we can't help anybody else. And so, yeah, I truly believe that getting out of that comfort zone is where we're gonna learn, and that's where we're gonna grow our faith.
So true, so true. I totally agree with that. And that stagnancy that comfort gives us, it just pulls you towards it. It won't actually let you grow ever. And that is a universal thing, and it does not have any exceptions. I totally agree to it. Also, as you mentioned, your wife's illness and the financial collapse that you faced, you've been very open about, walking through immense losses in your life. So I'm eager to know, what did you do with your healing then? Did you grow, or did you grow with it, or did you just, think of getting over it or getting out of it? So how was your healing process?
Yeah, so I mean, my healing process, everybody's different, but for me, I had to rely on other people. I had to talk about it, just be open to people and say, "Hey, this is what's going on." And that really helped me to kind of heal, because when you like stuff it inside, you're just gonna like implode or explode on people, and people aren't gonna understand. But when you really talk about it with your friends or your family, it kind of lightens the load. And I mean, in this world, we're gonna all have trouble. That's what the Bible says. I mean, it's a matter of fact. And pain is a part of life. Loss is a part of life. And if you could share it with other people, because they're eventually going to go through it, or they've been through it before, and so they know what it's like to be in your shoes. And so, yeah, sharing that load, sharing the burden with a community, with your friends, with your family, it's a big, it definitely helped me for sure. I mean, is very different, but sharing that load definitely helped me heal.
It sure does help. And yes, I'm glad that you took that path as your healing step, because, it just also inspires a lot of other people to speak up and, to, it just not it does not always matter that you have to make sense every time you're speaking about your trauma or your loss. It has to be what you deeply feel about, and what all is going inside your mind, just to let it out in the universe. And yes, that is actually the best thing that you can do. And you mentioned food in our earlier conversation. And food nowadays, in today's world, it has become emotional, it has become rushed, and as well as, a bit numbled. For example, if I am eating something which, after a very hard, a not very good day, and then just that one bite is every emotion that I need, everything that I need at that particular point. So, how did mindful nourishment, how did that become your form of faith when everything else was going uncertain? But you were so sure that, the my eating habits could also uh, do something about my stress and my situation at this point.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, reading books based on, cancer and nutrition, there's a big correlation of what you put in your body will affect your mood or will affect your brain. And give you an example, I grew up in a Korean culture, a lot of traditional Korean foods, which is a lot of vegetables, fermented foods. And one of the fermented foods is kimchi. And there's a lot of scientific research on fermented foods and your gut health. And if you look at your gut health, there's about 70% of your immune system sits in your gut. And there's a big gut brain connection. And so when you add fermented foods like kimchi or sauerkraut or any other fermented foods, you actually get the probiotics, live culture bacteria, like good bacteria in your stomach, and it will help seal leaky guts. And, if you have a good gut, you have a good brain. And so you'll have a lot of clarity. And so for me, with my wife having cancer, I mean, she's cancer free now, but with nutrition, we had to see food as medicine, not just something that's emotional. Because when we're emotional, we go for the junk food. We go for the hamburgers, the ice cream, the soda, the chips, whatever it is, because we just want that instant gratification. But for us, it's what are the effects long term wise? And there's so many documentaries out there as well. If you look at there's a documentary called Live to 100, and it's people living to 100 consistently for like the last 50 years. And there's only 6 cities in the world, they're called blue zones, that actually live to 100 disease free, no mental decline, and it's based on their nutrition. And a lot of it is their plant based diet. And so for us, we look at it as food is medicine, and it is a lifelong journey. And that I mean, for us, food was life or death. We either get rid of all the junk and put in some good, clean food, because long term wise, it's going to help with the cancer, but it's also going to help with just our immunity, with our mental clarity, and diseases like autoimmune diseases. I live here in the United States, and it's called the standard American diet, and it spells sad because it's all fast food, it's all sugary drinks, but all those foods are actually affecting our body. And here in the United States, we probably have more cancer rates, more autoimmune diseases than probably any other country, because we have so many chemicals in our food that people just don't realize. And so, yeah, for me, food is definitely medicine, and it's a way of life. And for me, I just can't get emotional and say like, oh, I want to go get a hamburger or whatever just because I had a bad day, or I want to get some ice cream. But for me, it's long term effects that's going to affect me that I don't want to deal with. So, yeah.
That is actually so refreshing and insightful, and it's the need of the hour, I feel. You rightly mentioned that, um, it's these food habits that we have, at the end of the day. We don't realize that we're doing it, and it's a habit that we have, inculcated, and it's deeply into our system, wherein, it's whenever it's about emotions, we go for something which is the most appropriate, and which will bring you to your comfort zone. And junk food is the go-to option, and I truly understand that. And rightly mentioned that um food is what you are. What food you eat is how you will be, and what you will be in upcoming days and an upcoming future that you have. So true, so true. Also, DK Kang, we are living through global uncertainty at this point. We're in this phase where there is so much economic stress, there is climate anxiety, there is loneliness among people, and digitalization has been a facet and a way in which everybody is just a bit apart from or disconnected from everybody. And this global uncertainty is not just in some areas, it's everywhere. Everybody is facing that. So, for people listening right now who feel like they're fighting just to stay afloat and they're in this anxiety, they're dealing with this, what does fighting forward or what does fighting through it or, going through it look like in today's reality for you?
No. Well, for me, I mean, I've done martial arts all my life, and when when you're sparring, when someone's trying to kick you in the face or punch you in the face, it's a type of challenge. It's a type of adversity, and there's a lot of parallels to life with that. When life throws a punch at your face or a kick at your face, like a cancer diagnosis, job loss, or anxiety, depression. I mean, you name it. I mean, we're all going to go through something in life. But so many times, like I've seen people want to run away from that challenge, from that punch or kick to the face. In martial arts, the same thing in life. Giving you an example, um, when my wife was going through cancer treatments, I mean, I went to all her appointments, and then the medical staff pulled me aside after like seeing me like for 6 months consecutively, and they're just saying like, we're really just admire your dedication to your wife, and we are inspired because about 70 or 80% of men basically just run away. They filed for divorce when they hear the word cancer, when their wife is diagnosed with cancer. And the medical staff was just saying like, we just we just absolutely love that you are here for your wife. And so I would say face those challenges, face it head on. It's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be difficult, but if you keep running away from things, like you're never going to learn, you're never going to learn the lesson, you're never going to grow, and it's only going to keep coming back at you more and more. It's just going to come back harder than ever. And try to just go through it, whatever that challenge is, face it head on, and get help. Get help from other people. Get help professionally if you're dealing with depression or clinical depression or anxiety. Get professional help with a therapist, psychologist. They can help you, walk you through those things. And yeah, we're all dealing with something. So talk to people and find a common ground. Talk about it. There's something therapeutic when you get help and when you talk about things that are like an actual challenge or an actual struggle or a life circumstance that you're facing. And we just can't bottle up inside. Like we as humans, we're made to connect with people and to again share that load, to share that burden. We're not made to do it by ourselves. So
Thank you. Thank you so much for that advice. And that is actually the divine paradox that each and everybody needs to understand. And it's given that you don't need certainty and comfortable situations to have faith always. It's these challenges that build you, and only the willingness to keep walking would bring you out of those challenges. And it's so true, so true. um what an ordinary exchange we have had today. And you remind us that, faith, it isn't blind. It has some perspective to it. It is the daily decision that we take to see light, even, when the world, it feels dim, it feels melancholic. And you've given us insights on food, movement, prayer, stillness, and these are all the languages of devotion and, working on ourselves. And if practiced with right intention, that actually works. So thank you for that. And as we close our day, um, listeners, ask yourself not how strong you are, but how present you are in your situations, in your events. Because faith is not built in miracles, it is built in the meals, in the mornings, and the moments you choose to keep showing up for yourself and for the people around you. This is Divine Decode. I am Pragya Malvia, and this is where we find the sacred in the simple and the divine in the daily. Until next time, keep feeding your faith and fighting forward. And thank you so much.